we started kind of doing dark mode. And that's when this song kind of got pushed aside. And then at some point again, we started another version of it where we took the guitars out and we said, okay, maybe there's still something in this song. Let's just get rid of all the guitars. And so we kind of started again. And then I think we've got another version of it that we can play with that I think is sans the guitars, right? There's no guitars in
Mhm.
this version. So this was the beginning of it heading towards a dark mode idea. So let's hear that. So
Gets
already it's way different.
gets very Depeche Mode. The
Mhm.
beat's still there. Guitars are gone. You can see I'm kind of playing with the vocal idea. And there's that synth part.
Yeah. Which stayed.
So really, as everyone can hear, the beat's really the only thing that's there now.
Yeah.
And it's become a new song. And it's still not fractured.
Yeah.
Now, now you can hear a little bit of where my vocal went in the final.
Let it play to that chorus that
Yep.
we were messing with. That
Yep,
part's
here we go.
gone.
Pretty ABBA.
That part was cut. No.
So we're just
That,
meandering. We're just
yeah.
meandering around. Be fucking boring. Kind of a kind of a cool chorus. Okay. So, it's it's
Okay.
something. With a chorus sometimes like this, it's hard to really go somewhere. It's got some depth to it and everything. It's hard when something like that happens. It's hard for me to get my head around getting rid of a part like that. But honestly, it in some ways also we're becoming a little bit more ruthless. It's getting a little bit easier to just understand that it's just not going anywhere. But you guys can hear the song has already taken a massive, massive change, massive turn.
So
What?
at that point, I think, we're listening to it, kind of stepped away from it and kind of realized, yeah, this kind of sounds like it would be a B-side from either Death to Analog or the second album, We're Here With You or something. It had someone mentioned The Hunting. It definitely had
Mm.
kind of a vibe
Hmm.
like that song, which never made it until the time capsule. It was just, it just never really seemed to be that great of a song,
Hmm.
honestly. This song, it just seemed to kind of lose its energy once we
Yep.
went down this path. Because honestly, at the end of the day, I think what I really loved was the beat. This loop that Rich came in with really was always the thing that I kept kind of going back to because I was like, this beat is really cool, but none of the music just was right or had the attitude that it needed. So it was like, again, so we had already made one version of this song that got pushed aside. Then we made this version of the song and it just kind of went down a path and it was just kind of like, it just wasn't that great. It wasn't exciting. Um, it just it wasn't great. So it got pushed aside again.
Was there even a third part at the very end there, Ryan? I don't even know if you want to play it, but
You know,
Was
there
there?
some of it.
was there might have been some weird chorus thing that I tried to add on there. Actually, it might be. It's in this version that I have right now, but I don't know that I'd even want to play it. It's such a departure, but we'll see. We'll see when we get into it because I have the other session open. That one that I was just playing was just kind of what that was. We were almost at the end of it right there. It was
Yeah.
pretty linear. But you can also hear my vocals are kind of meandering, and I'm really trying to kind of take these melodically. I'm trying to go somewhere and explore it, but that kind of but dun 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 that ended up continuing to stick. That was the first vocal idea that I had on this song. So then we started ending up getting into, I mean, the beat, everything started kind of getting
But
augmented and
wait,
messed
so
with.
is this the one where I went back in and said, okay, let's take the beat and let me change the bass line? Is this
Uh
the
huh.
one? Okay.
Yep.
So
Yep.
then I went in and just completely ran down a new bass line. And that's what sent it in the path of like, oh shit, maybe this song can be on dark mode.
Well,
Like,
this also when Bassline actually started entering the studio. So
yeah,
the actual piece of gear. Let me get this fucker. Let's see the
my
weapon
secret weapon.
that we've been using and using and using and using
Yeah, I love that.
here. I don't know if I am actually on the screen or not. Okay, yeah,
No,
I am.
you're
Good, good.
you're
All right,
good.
so yeah, so this has been a huge thing. So this is a ton of the bass lines on dark mode. So very very powerful tool that we've been using a lot. I've been using a lot. I wrote some new stuff with it that was in this latest batch. A song that I think you guys heard just a little bit of it. I played it as kind of like an intro as we were kind of coming into the studio to have one of our sessions, and everyone really really liked it. But yeah, that thing is kind of a game changer and things like this. Do you want me to play that, Amir?
This version?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Even the beat has gotten augmented and kind of changed up a little bit.
But it's crazy how much the feel changed with that bass line.
The virus synth also was definitely a little bit more techno. Demo of the verse. Poorly sang, but we're just scatting. Part that gets cut. So you guys can hear it's starting to go somewhere. Definitely getting the bones of where it is now. No vocoders, no nothing, just kind of sketching out what the vocal might be. And Damone, your hand is up, my brother. I unmuted you.
You guys hear me okay?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Your
sweet.
studio's
Sweet.
looking
Of
great.
course, he's got one. He's
Yeah,
got a
Oh
bass
yeah.
line.
Yeah.
right there. Yeah, because as I was saying, I keep mine at arm's length too, whenever it comes down to things like that. But I do have a question about it. Those fluctuations in the sound, those fluctuations in the bass line riff, I guess you would call it. Is that Are you guys doing that post production, or are you guys using like the motion sequencing,
No,
or how's that
actually,
working?
the way that I did that, and I did it just like the way that I did Dossier, the
Uh-huh.
bass line. So even though that's a different synth, what I do is Fu and I do this a lot, especially on this new album. I'll sort of improvise the bass line as it's recording. So I'll let it run, and as it's running, I'm live manipulating it,
Oh
almost
wow.
like a DJ or something.
Yeah.
That's how we do a lot of it.
So the rhythm is there, and the timing, is there. So when I'm doing like filters and all this stuff, I try to, create tension. So there's like parts where it changes, but yeah, like there. So basically the idea with that is that it's constantly evolving. It's
Mm,
not the same part over and over, so it keeps your interest. And then on top of that, I'm not going to say it's my own trick. I'm sure other people do this, but I do it twice. So I create a stereo track because the device is only mono, and this is the same thing
mhm.
I did on Dossier with the microgroup. It's a mono single output channel, whatever, device. So what I do is I run it down once with all my improvs, and then I do it again. And then I put it together. Some of it I leave it right where it happens, like those magic moments. There's things that happen and it's like, oh, that's cool. Just something happens while I'm doing it live or whatever. Um, and I leave those, but some of them I find these pieces and then I put them together in a way where they're interesting. So like each verse is different, each chorus is different. The breakdowns, there's parts you'll notice in some of them, you'll hear there's actually two separate parts happening. There's one that's doing a certain thing, and then there's another one that's doing a different thing. Sometimes they drop out, and I just go down to the original one or whatever for dynamics, and then bring them both back in on the chorus or whatever. But it's almost like, I mean, the way being a guitar player, it's like I think about it almost like playing guitar, like I do the main track and I do all of whatever I'm doing, and then I double it, right? But maybe I do something a little different on the double, or maybe that double comes in and out in spots. And so maybe it's my guitar player brain that makes me do that with the synths, but it's a really fun way to take something that's pretty simple, but make it more complex and more exciting sounding. So, but I'm pretty sure throughout most of this track, it's both of them playing at the same time. There's some spots where it drops out, but that's what makes it sound so big too.
Let
You
me
mind if I try
show
that?
you just one of them soloed.
Yeah.
Okay, this is both now. So on that one, what's really cool is that one is left a little bit more open, but has different like harder dropouts, and then the other one during the verse, he turns it to where it gets a little bit more sharper, percussive sounding, but it's still really thick. So it's pretty rad. Definitely creates it's basically the same part forever, but it really changes.
It
Really
just,
cool.
yeah, it just keeps it interesting. There's just
Mhm.
it's constantly evolving, I guess, is what I like about it. It doesn't say, because the rhythm of it is actually really simple. There's not a lot of note changing going on. So instead of having a bunch of notes changing, I'm just sort of keeping it interesting by, moving the filters and adding noise, taking away noise, uh, changing
Adjusting the
what kind of
envelope.
filter, the distortion, like all kinds of stuff is just constantly evolving. And like I'm kind of playing it like almost like I'm DJing in a way.
Hmm.
And I think that probably has a part of it too, is being a DJ, kind of having that feeling of sort of improvising over the tracks or whatever. And Fu and I do this too. There's some other songs where we did stuff on the ARP 2600 and like we went crazy. I mean,
Oh,
we
it's
did it.
crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we have probably a 10-minute jam that I actually think we should probably just bounce out and like put it up on Patreon.
Yeah, yeah,
Fu and Amir's 10-minute, ARP 2600 jam would
yeah.
be like a
Good
cool
idea.
right? Alternate universe thing.
Hmm.
Um, we should do that.
Yeah,
But
and I was
yeah,
gonna say like even like for this song or whenever we kind of do that, it's kind of open ended. So we end up doing kind of 10 minutes of it, and it just creates all this extra work because it's like, oh, that was great. There's like all this great stuff and you want to kind of use it all, but then you have to make decisions on what, the song's going to be like 3 or 4 minutes, and you have like 30 minutes of stuff because you didn't just do it once, right? So
Typically that's my job to do. I'll sit with it and kind of figure it out. Fu will be like, okay, cool, that was fun. I'm here to figure it out.
It is a really
I think we did this one on one of my trips there because
yes.
I kind of remember it.
Mhm.
And also I was going to say like how the feel of it changed from that previous bass line that you had.
Mhm.
We took out the one, which is something I do all the time. The downbeat is just a kick with no bass, and then the bass comes in
Mhm.
after that, and that's what changed the feel in a lot of ways. It just took it away from this more robotic to a more of a groovy bass line.
Yep.
Yeah, you're the fatal rejection. You play your part. Lingering infection from the start. This virus has replicated. You become all that you hated, and you're relieve the pressure.
So lots of experiments, screams, all sorts of stuff. And then we have this thing that says bridge, move to later. Oh. That's a part that I sort of orchestrated, kind of messing around. And then this. That just gets it so funky. But it's not getting really nasty yet, the way it ended up at the end.
Yeah,
So that's kinda, we had
we
an
never
outline.
went back to that part. That was literally just, I think it just happens once in the song now. In the beginning, it was just kind of a little intro.
Mhm.
Going back to it just felt like a letdown.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it kind of goes in with this kind of like thinking that I've been trying to latch onto, where we just make a part that's cool, and we don't have to go back and visit it again. Like we started it with Tears, where I did that thing on the verse, that kind of departure, excuse me, on the chorus that is so cool. We could typically we would have repeated it on the second chorus, but we just made it that one time, and that's it. And we did a verse that was one time only. It's completely different than the first verse, and I think it makes the song really, really interesting. And that song's continuing to do really, really well on Spotify and everything. So thanks, everyone. That's awesome. So I have final version of Fractured here.
Like 4 years later.
I think it's kind of it's definitely cool to kind of show everyone that these things really go through some huge changes. So even when I play stuff for you guys, I know I've said it 100 times, but even when I do sessions where I'm kind of showing you the songwriting and all that kind of stuff, it really, 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 the final product sometimes is not even close to what we played for you. The exception would be the song that we started the other day with you guys. We just kind of turned on the cameras, and I sort of did some filming, and I kind of started a part, and the guys kind of went off on it. And then I've played you Where It's Gone, and that would be a really great example of some of those songs where we just start writing, and we basically wrote it all in one day. And I got a lot of the vocals sang and everything in one day. I just did kind of what I think might be final vocals, but we'll see. That song's like pretty much done. We just sat down and we did it, and you guys saw a lot of it on camera. We did it live. That is less often than this. So here we are now. Oh, let's get into that. The vocoder was so cool.
The fracture starts in my heart.
So bassline sounds a bit more nasty. The drums sound punchier. The vocal, I'm super glad. I've definitely been getting, just like I'm a little bit sick of guitars, I'm also sick of voices and my voice and voices in general. And I really want something done to them because I'm just so bored of the medium. So it's awesome that we were able to take kind of the vocal part, and Fu and I did a whole lot of playing with melody. Actually, Fu, I, and Amir, but Fu was in there really kind of messing with the vocoder and
Yeah,
figuring out.
we went way more robotic with it.
Yeah.
I guess that's where, yeah, it is a bit more like technical difficulties or,
Mm-hmm.
like a
Mm-hmm.
Transformers kind of thing. We
Mm-hmm.
definitely went more robotic, definitely more 90s industrial kind of vibes
Mm-hmm.
on the vocals. And it's a little more it's a little less melodic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, melodic is cool, but at the same time it's kind of different for us to kind of make it a little more monotone and a little more robotic, which I don't know, for some reason it just really felt right for the song, the aggressiveness of the song. It kind of made it less pretty, I guess.
I was really thinking Skinny Puppy a lot
Yeah,
on this
Skinny
song,
Puppy too,
and
yeah.
it definitely been influenced by. I always loved Ogre's vocals, and I actually love Ogre's solo stuff. I liked it for a while a lot more than Skinny Puppy. I'm getting more into Skinny Puppy now. Been listening to that a lot lately, and there's a whole lot of Skinny Puppy coming out in what we do. And I'm naturally such a melodic singer, and that's not a brag because I'm not always proud of that. Sometimes I don't want to be so melodic. It's really nice to go in and kind of channel some of that stuff and come up with something that's honestly less melodic but very powerful and has some cool tone to it and is all attitude. But we really kind of, you know, kind of went back to the initial vocal idea that we had in the beginning. And that was this. Your fingers grasp at the pieces of denial, wires twisted and tangled in your smile, become all that you've hated. This wasn't what you expected for your life. I really like what Amir did with the screams. Kind of did this kind of interesting stuff where they almost sound like they're turned backwards and they're kind of like filtered, and it just really made it kind of inhuman, which is really what I wanted for this song. I wanted it to sound very inhuman and robotic, and again very ogre and Skinny Puppy,
Yeah.
but of course our style, our version.
It's back to the Benny Jesuit or
Benny
whatever they're
Gesserit.
called. Yeah, back to that, the voice, I always kind of use that as a reference of like, this kind of demonic
Mm-hmm.
sounding
Mm-hmm.
voice, right? And I love trying to, have those little influences in there. Can't help it.
Is that from a movie or something?
Yeah, Dune. The witches.
So I also love this kind of shit. So there's a lot of stuff that I do live that I'm trying to put in these songs now. So I'll stand up and listen to the song and kind of, just kind of imagine we're on stage, and I've been putting, little things that I do on stage in there. Of course, I don't want all of them because I want some improvisation on stage, but there are times when I really wish that there's parts that I did live in these songs. And so we're putting them in a little bit more, but I like the way they get treated. And this one's really, really cool. And Amir kind of cut it up and did some shit to kind of like a scream. And then I did one of my little things. And
The idea for me with some of these parts was the prodigy. I was
Mhm.
trying to find like, take vocal parts, but then make them almost
Make
like
them,
rhythmic.
yep. Yeah.
These other
Let's,
rhythms that happen.
let's hear this one real quick. Super cool. So live, that'll be super, super fun because that's very, very much the feeling that we go for live, Um, let's listen to what happened to this one down here. Nice. Yeah, I really, really like those. Those will be really, really fun live too. Super cool. got some of the little clicky drum sounds here that
Yeah,
I
I
think
call
really
it, I
kind
don't
of.
know why I call it that, but I call it the Q sound.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
There's something, I can't remember if that's what it was called in the Roland V drum, but with the little, the laser sound, that actually got carried over from one of the older versions. That we didn't have it in there for a long time, but I brought it back.
Let's see here. I can feel the SP. What is the SP?
Skinny puppy.
Yeah.
Oh, good, 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 good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep, yep. Lots of skinny puppy here. Yes. Um, that kind of shit. How do I explain it? The A sound in the throat. That's funny. I don't know. I don't know. It is kind of like this. Yeah, it's a bit of a fry. It's called a vocal fry. So yeah, there is these kind of like I like the grunt sound effects. A couple places where they added intentionally, or did it just happen organically? Yeah, so that's what I mean, Sam. Is some of this stuff? I'm glad that you like it. Thank you. I'm glad that you're bringing it up because those are things that I just kind of enjoy. That I want in there because it's stuff that I would do live, and I think you're probably talking about. Oh, let me get out of this super solo here. There we go. So that's all shit that live, I mean, I would totally do those things live. So, we got him in there now, and I just feel like it bangs. I feel like this section right here. It just crushes.
Yeah, so like in that section, I'm like switching filters. That's why it goes from that because I'm
Mm.
like switching the actual switch and letting the filter be wide open, then bringing it back. Oh yeah, there's also hidden bass guitar.
So yeah, I mean, it just gets.
Play the part right before that, the build up. Some cool stuff in the build up.
You want me to solo that stuff out?
Yeah, so there's two tracks going. One, I'm really manipulating and opening the filter, and then the other one's kind of just cruising along, I think. Check it out.
It's pretty insane. Pretty insane. And then
That
Yeah,
clicky sound, I remember.
What'd you say?
That clicky sound, I remember now doing it on my sub fatty over here, and it's interesting. I hung on to that thing, and it's I never the thing about it, I guess, is that it has a sub oscillator, which not everything has. I never use the sub oscillator on it, but I love using the synth itself. It's super simple little guy here.
Mm-hmm.
And
Who
it's
makes
just
that?
like you just
Moog.
the Moog sub fatty. Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, that's cool.
We used to have that in Long Beach.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah, I kidnapped it. Kidnapped
Nice.
it to
Oh,
Canada.
Keith is like, there's a little bit of art of noise. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
totally cool.
Totally.
Yes.
I didn't even think about that.
Yes, art of noise. That's awesome. Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
obvious influences for all of us. I mean, we love Art of Noise, Skinny Puppy, and I mean, for me, there was kind of this crazy mashup of even like the beat kind of is very 90s, kind of reminded me more of like the Crystal Method or
mhm.
even Depeche Mode. Some of their like later 80s, early 90s kind of stuff had beats more like that. It was kind of more of a break beat almost. It was
Mm-hmm.
kind of the fashion then. So it had this sort of aggressive, almost break beat kind of, you know, kick and snare. Um, but then, you know, improvising all this other stuff over it. Kind of, yeah, there's definitely some 80s, there's definitely some, you know, now 2000s,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
kind of all mixed together.
So let's listen to the chorus now, the vocal where it kind of ended up.
The fracture starts in my heart.
So it's a layer
The fracture starts in my heart.
of screams mixed with
It
vocoder.
fucking rips me apart. The fracture starts in my heart.
Which is one of my favorite stacks we've ever done. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different stacks of vocal there. But it's really, really fun. It's cool the way that kind of like the fry screams are layered in with the vocoder and everything. I think it gives it a really hard, like almost kind of a metal even feel, but it's totally electro and totally industrial and totally EBM and dance and kind of works with this whole thing.
The fracture starts in my heart. The fracture starts in my heart. It fucking rips me apart.
Super fun.
The fracture starts in my heart.
I can't wait to play this in San Diego. It's going to be super, super fun. Awesome.
The fracture starts in my heart. The fracture starts in my heart. It fucking rips me apart. The fracture starts in.
And then the thing that I think kind of like that I always liked about a lot of this kind of like alternative electronic kind of shit that I grew up with kind of coming out of the 80s into the 90s is I always loved pads over stuff. I just think it makes it sound modern. Takes something really heavy. And I just
Very
think it
skinny
makes,
puppy. That's
there
very
it is.
skinny puppy. That was
It
kind of
is.
the idea, I think.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I remember the feelings of listening to Skinny Puppy and Ministry and all this kind of stuff where there'd be heavy music and pads over it. And there was even in Bakersfield, there were even, a lot of bands and stuff. There was a scene and a movement in Bakersfield for a while, and alternative and electronic was, Skinny Puppy, all that kind of stuff was really popular among our like little scene. This is pre-Corn, pre-everything. And there was some of this stuff going on, and I've always been in love with that kind of like pads with really heavy music underneath it. I just think that that's super, super cool, and it sounds modern to me, And I still love it on, New Order and all that kind of stuff, even when it's more melodic music and dancey. But I love how there's these bitchin' pads over the top, and I'm glad that we're able to put those in our music a lot more now. Really, really cool.
There was also some cool kind of sound effects that Fu came in with at the 12th hour
Mm.
that I took and kind of laid over a couple places. I know they're pretty subtle. They kind of come in before the first verse.
Where do those live?
One of them comes in before the first verse and the first chorus, but there's also one that goes through the whole second verse. It's just kind of a weird. It's
Yeah, I don't know where that is.
We
second.
yeah,
Go to the second verse. Is that in this version, Fu?
I think he's playing the final version.
Okay.
So it should be.
So in the
Second
second
version.
verse, it almost sounds like a mosquito buzzing around your head.
Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a mosquito.
It's a mechanized mosquito.
Yeah, you're the fatal rejection. You play your part, lingering. And from the start, you become all that you hated in your life.
Nice.
Yeah, we were talking about doing something that ended up being more or less a misunderstanding, something that you were asking for, Ryan. And
Yeah,
then I
yeah.
I programmed up a few sounds, and you're going, no, not that's not what I was talking about. And then Amir took the sounds and placed them somewhere else where they were too.
Exactly. I was
Yeah.
like, I just thought the second verse, it was so samey that I thought maybe I can just kind of put this in as some little like headphone ear candy. Like if you have headphones on, it kind of swims around your head. But to me, it kind of matched with the lyrics, like because he's talking about a virus and all this kind of
Mm.
stuff. And so I kind of put this sound in there that makes you feel like you're seasick or something.
Yeah, that's funny. That's cool. So what they're talking about is some of the songs on Dark Mode that you guys haven't heard. We're there's a lot of stuff that there's noise going on in them and everything, and it almost sounds to me, it gives me the feeling of guitars. It gives me the feeling of guitars being plugged in and unplugged, or the noise that guitars make. And a lot of it was due to new instruments we got here and Amir experimenting. And I just love that these cool hard electro songs with melody have noise in them, which is not as much in electronic music. There isn't just noise that dirties the thing up. It's almost like taking a photo or film, which we do all the time, and we put film noise over it, and we put layers over it and mess with the opacity so that you can see the grain in it, and you can see like film damage and things like that, in an effort to kind of dirty the whole image up, even if it's a super clean, crisp image. And I think that that's one of the things that we're doing with these songs, even though they're not, they're electro, but they're not cold and stark. I think that they're getting dirtier, and I really dig it. And I was missing it. I wanted to hear it on this song, and I think that's how the stuff kind of started going through the rotation of of Canada to Long Beach, through the circuit, and we ended up coming up with these kind of really cool, almost annoying electronic sounds that are dissonant. It has nothing to do with the fucking song, but that's what makes it so cool. And it's so quiet, I think a lot of people probably wouldn't even hear it. But this stuff is really, really cool, and I'm having a lot of fun with this kind of stuff. I think it's making our electro sound kind of different than what is going on with a lot of people's stuff, And there is other electronic artists where they do have drones and stuff, of course, and noise and stuff, and I love all that shit, but it's not something that we did as much. Right on. So lots of comments here. Let me catch up. Yep, video drone, Deadsy. Yep, miss all those guys doing their thing. Kind of sucks, but we're going to go ahead and carry the torch. Very Blade Runner, very cyberpunk, yes. Pads everywhere for cyberpunk, yes. Love it. Skinny Puppy Rabies, absolutely. Definitely influences on all this kind of stuff. So, yeah, and then, you guys probably note or notice that, when we release our music and we have this stuff, we usually do a big kind of runway promotion ahead of time. And the last two, we obviously have been giving it to you guys first, but we've been kind of dropping it and, having a live link and sort of promoting it backwards. And all of that is sort of, it's just us attempting and trying new things. There's a lot of thinking that is kind of going into, modern types of release, that you don't want to promote something that doesn't have a link, that don't want to start telling people about a song that they can't listen to yet. I think that it really just depends on the artist. I definitely think that some smaller artists, maybe that's definitely, I see the sense in that. For us, it's fun to try both ways. What we've been doing now is, I'll buy ads and stuff like that to kind of hit, when the song hits on Friday, around, or I guess they come out at 9 p.m. for us in the Pacific. PST, it comes out at 9 p.m. So I'll get the ads kind of going then, and just start promoting the song. And only now is the ad really starting to deliver. I mean, it takes days for everything to work. And we do promotions and stuff afterwards. And it's all just kind of an experiment. It's all just trying to figure out what's fun. What do people like? I think there is some fun to teasing for us, because we do have fans, we do have people who pay attention. I don't know that I've seen it move the dial one way or another for us, but it is cool to have reasons to post and things to kind of make a game out of it. But it's also kind of fun to just drop something that's finished and awesome. And
I remember when I was a kid, it was so frustrating. You know, you'd hear a song on the radio, new song from an artist that you love, whatever, and all you can do, you know, is go and buy an album. That was your choice. And, you know, I never bought singles, right? So all you could do is go out and buy the vinyl album. Got $5 in my pocket. I go down to the store and it's like, oh, it's not going to even be, you know, the song's on the radio, but the album's not coming out for another month or something, you know. So I thought that was like really frustrating, and probably, I don't know, probably lost, you know, maybe I lost interest in buying that album like a month later when it finally came out.
yeah, there's definitely something to be said about the blue balls for an entire month, that kind of shit.
Yeah.
But, you know, back then you had radio, you know, everyone's listening to radio, and radio straight up playing the song. So you basically almost know the song and you're hearing it all the time, right? So you're kind of getting reminded constantly of it. Whereas today, it's kind of like, it's pretty tough. You know, you play a clip of the song on Instagram and, you know, I don't know, people just move on. You know, but if they like the song, do you want a link down at the bottom where they can immediately get it? And you guys can chime in and tell us what you think too, because this is all just stuff that we're experimenting with constantly, you know, and we work with other artists as well. So the stuff that works on us, we want to impart to our friends as well. I have a suspicion there isn't one answer. I think they're both kind of cool and fun to do. And I think it all depends on if we have, you know, content that's worth kind of doing a ramp up and stuff like that. And sometimes we have content that seems a little bit better, you know, just like it's dropped and everything's out. Kevin loves albums, but you guys
Also,
hit a good stride with promoting songs ahead of time, ahead of them and in between. Yeah, thank you. Waited 5 months for an album to come out recently. Wow. You were saying to me?
Like, yeah, well, obviously at this point, you guys have heard everything that's actually done for the most part, except, well, actually not
No,
everything.
we've got a couple more songs that are done. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a couple more, but it's kind of cool because, you know, you guys are hearing the progress, you know, as it's sort of getting done. It's not just like one song and then you're waiting a year to hear the rest. You know, we're kind of giving you little breadcrumbs as we go along. I also wanted to say, how good did Jason do on a remix for Tears? Like, were you guys surprised when that was like a total surprise drop? I'm sure Jason was surprised too. He was probably not expecting that to happen. It was really fun to be able to include him on this release. He did an amazing job on this remix. So let's give Jason some applause for his work. Thank you, buddy. You can unmute yourself now, and he's
like, no, thank you.
Yeah, the whole thing started in like the middle of the night with pads, ironically.
Oh, no way.
I muted everything out except for the drums and the vocals, and then I said, how am I going to make this different? Because that's the only thing that's worth doing for me for a remix. And I landed on a music nerd thing, just using the relative major, and turned it into an anti-dark mode pop song.
Nice. I really like it. I really like it. Yeah, it's so cool. I mean, it made me like the song better, and that's what I always look for with a remix. Like, does it make you like the song better? I always hate remixes that are such a departure and just so monotone with the vocal sort of sprinkled in here or there. You know, to me, it's like, rewrite this bitch. You know, make that song different, make it new, make it fresh. And I think you really did a great job on it. Really, really like it. I play that more than I play the song right now. So it's really cool. So thank you. Yeah. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you for joining us on a Sunday. And it's been nice to be able to do these, you know, every Sunday for the last couple of weeks. It's been awesome. And thanks for all the support with Fractured. Please do us a favor, share it as much as you can. You know, share it with everybody, post it, reshare our stuff. It all really, really helps. You know, spin it like crazy on Spotify. That really, really helps us. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone. have a wonderful Sunday. And I hope everyone gets some relief from the heat. And Fu and Amir, have a great Sunday. I'll see you guys all soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.